Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Al Ferguson, and let's queer up the worldview. Hotspots happening out to report on location in Israel and Gaza over the future of LGBTQ in the Middle East. After months of secret conversation that began early in the year, Queer News Tonight can now confirm that a series of reports will take place in Israel and what is called the Gaza envelope. I will represent the nonprofit media brand and travel from June 10th to the 19th. Reporting will be in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and the Gaza envelope. That is where the October 7th attacks occurred and 1,200 people died. Hotspots Happening Out will also have a cameraman as we talk to LGBTQ Israelis and Palestinians. A wide range of topics will include interviews and will focus on what the future holds for the LGBTQ community in the region. This is the cradle, as you know, of Muslim, Jewish, and Christian communities and faiths, all living together. One of the features of our visit will be interviews with both the Israeli and Palestinian LGBT leadership organizations, the mayor of Tel Aviv and the mayor of Jerusalem, and discussions over the safety of LGBTQ Americans, again visiting the region. After the October 7th Hamas attacks, the 2024 Tel Aviv Pride was canceled. I will be a guest of Tel Aviv Pride, where I will be able to document firsthand the reemergence of this LGBTQ celebration in Israel and for the entire LGBTQ community in the region. Tel Aviv Pride, one of the largest in Europe, was canceled in 2024 because of the Hamas terrorism attack and will return this year. Issues over Israel and Gaza have had worldwide ramifications, including those for the LGBTQ community. The impact of the Israeli-Gaza war has dramatically affected college campuses, university funding, and the GOP response may have had direct implications on election outcomes, including that for the U.S. president. There are often two distinct points of view on the war in Gaza. We will talk to LGBTQ community members affected from both sides. We will report across all of our platforms in streaming television, digital reporting, and print in Hotspots magazine. We invite you to follow us for this historic moment as we document LGBTQ history in the making, exclusively here from Queer News Tonight. Well, we're very proud, first, to announce this. I would be remiss if I didn't say I was also a little nervous.
Yeah.
It is a region of the world where it seems like nobody agrees on virtually anything. Just today, I was reading some of the things that the Jerusalem mayor said about Jerusalem Pride and unflattering comments about the LGBTQ community. And the question is, for him, what is he going to say about whether LGBT should come to Jerusalem? Darrell and I were directly affected because 2 years ago, Sunshine did a trip and Cal was with us and Faye was with us, where we went to Athens and to Kusadasi in Turkey and to the Greek Isles. We went to the Giza Plateau in Egypt, which everyone said you can't bring an LGBT group to travel there. And we were to go to Tel Aviv and from Ashdod and Jerusalem. And Israel was canceled because of the event. So this is a first opportunity to go back and see where it is progressing and hear the various points of view. I invite all of us to stay tuned. Likely it's going to be very interesting.
I think it's fabulous that you all are doing this. When I think about the conflict, I say, will there ever be a resolution? Because on both sides, people are suffering. And I know 1,200 people died on October 7th, 2023, but 52,000 Palestinians have died. And I always say this: all Palestinians aren't Hamas. Okay, and I can't help to think about the innocent children. And I can't even imagine being LGBTQ in the Gaza Strip. I can't even imagine that. Like, I mean, I don't even know what the community does, and you're going to be able to find that out.
Yeah.
The thing about Israel is I've heard how vibrant the prides have been. And I know that like there's probably, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there's a strong LGBTQ alliance in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm interested to find out, and this is just me, is what's going on in the Gaza Strip with LGBTQ people, with the Palestinian people.
It's very interesting because I have a friend of mine who lives in Tel Aviv, and it's someone heterosexual man who I met on a flight from LA to New York like 15 years ago, and we've kept in touch all this time. And I remember when they had the first Pride in Tel Aviv, and he texts me and he says, "Are you here?" And I'm like, "Here where?" You know? And he goes, "For Pride in Tel Aviv." And I said, "No, like I live in Miami. Like why would I, you think I'm gonna come all the way to Tel Aviv and not tell you first of all?" And he goes, "I know, I'm just joking." He's like, "But I'm here." And I'm like, "Wait a second. Are you gay? Because I thought you were, you were straight." And he goes, his response to me, I'll never forget. His response was, "Pride isn't just for gay people."
Oh, I love
Wow.
that.
And I was like,
That I love.
what an amazing response to
I
their
love
first
Yeah.
Pride in Tel Aviv,
Yeah.
and how the community came together
Yes.
to support their LGBT friends.
I love even more that your friend just thought there was one Pride and you were
Right,
be
and
at
I was
it,
gonna- I was
right?
gonna-
Like, how
yeah.
beautiful is that? I
And just
love that.
The second part is I just wanted to note that trip that we went on, Al, was absolutely incredible because Faye and I got to broadcast live in front of the
Great
pyramids.
Pyramid.
Yes.
And that was probably one of the most epic experiences of my
Visual
life.
of it was
You know,
breathtaking.
not only to be with all of you, but for you and I, Faye, to have been there in
Yeah.
front of the pyramids, and we had the camel, behind us.
Behind us,
You know,
yeah.
to
And you had
broadcast.
your-
I had my
yes.
great grandfather's hat with me. So that was incredible.
A gay guy
Yeah.
who was Muslim
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Egypt in front of the
Yeah.
Great Pyramid.
With a
Right, with a
Reporting-
lesbian.
With a
Latina.
lesbian.
Think about that.
the news of
Yeah.
LGBT.
Al, I must ask you though, are you worried about pushback? Let me give you an example, right? So today there was a story on Miss Rachel. Do you folks know who Miss Rachel is? She is like the most popular kids YouTube star in life, right? And she went and did a video with a Palestinian girl that was brought here for her life to be saved. A
Yes.
double amputee, horrific, right? And so she did a video with the little girl, and she's gotten so much pushback from the other side. She loves all children. She entertains all
child.
children. Okay.
It's a
And it's
child.
a child at the end of the day. All right. But it just shows you
Yes.
this is the level, right, that you're
It
up
is.
against, that you're going to be up against. Are you worried about any of that?
Well, I'm not sure that I would take in the word worry, but I certainly recognize the
aware.
point that you're making, because at the end of the day, while we hate outside the LGBTQ community the cancel culture kind of language that we see
Yeah.
in social media, etc., very often we contribute to it just as quickly.
Ouch. Yes, we do.
And that's, I think, the point that you're pursuing. We have to find a way where we can talk about Palestinians and respect for the Muslim community, and not try to be canceled by those that disagree with us, and vice versa.
Yeah.
To be able to talk about Israel, and not go, every single person is the prime minister of Israel, because
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
everyone's point of view. The story that you just told is a beautiful story. There is complexity of every issue, and we must stop trying to be one-dimensional, because Truth Social is a one-dimensional platform, and if you only are in Truth Social, you're not getting the whole story. So
You're not getting truth or being social.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
recognize
terrible.
your observation.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we contribute to it.
Yeah.
We participate that way.
And it is true that Hamas is a terrorist organization.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it is also true that Netanyahu is a terrible person. I mean, so it's
Both can
hard.
live in the
it's
same
hard to,
Yeah.
it's hard to enter into the conversation because there's almost no right way to be. And also you're very concerned about the only democracy, the only pro-LGBT country in that whole region, and that doesn't give them permission to do shitty things. And you know, so it's this.
Yeah.
So I usually just stay quiet because I don't even know where to enter.
Yeah.
That part.
Well, it's a
That
social
part.
media conundrum that
It
we live
is.
in now,
Yeah.
because as soon as something happens, everyone is quick to update their profile picture to, I support Palestine,
Yeah.
and I support Israel,
I
or
stand with
I,
it, yeah.
I support dark chocolate.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my thing is the humanity.
Yeah.
When
People are dying on both sides.
On both sides. And like I made I understand Hamas is a terrorist group, but Hamas isn't that little boy or little girl that is, that is suffering and starving to death because they have blocked humanitarian aid in.
Yeah.
How can the world watch children? I say children because they're the most innocent.
Yeah.
But beyond that, the elderly and the innocent people, but children. How can the world watch children suffer like that?
Well, it's
starve.
it's interesting you say that. It's because it reminds me of when the Holocaust happened. And people now say, how could people have let that happen?
Yeah.
It's happening
Happening.
now, and we have social media, and
Yep.
people are seeing it.
Seeing it in
and
real
it's
time.
Still happening.
In real time.
And people, and what are they doing? They're just scrolling,
Yeah.
and they're just ignoring it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me as we watched, in the backlash that's going on against Harvard and Columbia, et cetera, from the Trump administration. It's interesting to me that largely our attempts to deport college students that are in on legitimate visas that participate in a protest, that exhibit free speech at a protest, and one side is going to try to basically destroy them.
Yep.
And my reaction of watching the protest is, okay, well, even if I don't agree with you, I can still embrace your right to say it.
Yeah.
We have large swaths of Americans, to your point, that don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear any of the noise. They don't want to hear anything except what they believe. And then everything else is wrong. And as long as we continue to embrace that way, we can't move forward in these horrible times that we're
Did you see last week the kid speaking at NYU at the graduation? And he spoke out about this very thing, and they withheld his diploma. A trans kid, by the way.
A trans kid. A trans guy.
Was the elected speaker from the student body, and they withheld his diploma for speaking, for saying his opinion.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm sure they got 75 rules they made up to make that okay.
Yeah.
But he just shared what speakers do, shared what he got up there to say, and they withheld his diploma.
And he didn't say anything anti-Semitic. He was just speaking up for the Palestinian people, because I think that's where it gets confused. If you can have compassion for the Palestinian people, that does not mean you're anti-Semitic.
No, it doesn't.
But I see a lot of the bullying.
Yeah.
Right.
If you post anything.
They will say, they will try to confuse it or infuse it with you being
I'm not
anti-Semitic.
saying that they have to agree with him. Say you disagree with them, but you're going to withhold his diploma?
Meanwhile, we're welcoming white South Africans.
49.
Thank you very much.
49.
Meanwhile,
49.
White people.
Come to our country, white South Africans.
my
The
God.
black and brown people, get out.
Right? Well,
one thing is for sure after this conversation, maybe I'll be rethinking.
Stop it. Listen, my prayers are with those on the ground doing the work, and to you, Al Ferguson, and with the LGBTQ folks in the region who are simply trying to live and love freely. So thank you to Queer News Tonight and Hotspots Happening Out for shining a light in the shadows. This is going to be, honestly, sacred storytelling done by you, and we really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.